What's going on, guys? B Flatten here, and welcome to the Clone Zone. So this is Clone Zone Zane. The purpose of this build is going to be around the Sentinel and around our clone. Let's get right into it. So in our blue tree we have Violent Speed and Violent Momentum all the way up to max. The purpose of these two is movement speed is going to get you damage, and the more that you move, the more damage that you output. Having these at 5 apiece is very good, and it also complements some of our gear as well. I put 2 points into Cool Hand for reload speed, and it's also just to move down the tree a little bit further. You don't need this at 5, but having a couple points is nice. Drone delivery, your drone drops a couple grenades every 15 seconds. Salvation, you only need 1 point into this. It's just for a little bit of lifesteal and to move down the tree. Death follows close. Death follows close for killsteal bonuses and duration. Violent Violence at 5 and Playing Dirty at 5. Violent Violence is going to be for a killsteal for fire rate, and it stacks twice. And Playing Dirty is going to be every killsteal activation. You have a chance to fire an additional projectile at 75% chance, and it also is going to be for the next 5 shots. Good Misfortune is a kill steal, and it also restores your action steal duration every time it procs. The majority in red and none in green. 5 to Synchronicity, you get gun damage per action steal. Digiclone and you increase your mag size together. Borrowed Time is for some action steal duration. Duct Tape mod, the first couple shots that you fire have a chance to fire a grenade. Donnybrook, I have 5 into this steal for my class mod, the Seeing Dead, and I also put 5 points into Donnybrook as well, because you get 45% gun damage, and it's also regen as well, but the gun damage is here for the most part. It's also a kill steal, so it procs off of the Seeing Dead, and it also procs off of just killing an enemy normally. Quick Breather, whenever you swap with your clone, you regain shields and HP. Old You, whenever you're in fight for your life, you can pop your clone and you get to have a auto revive. Supersonic Man, whenever one or more of Zane's action steals are active, you get increased movement speed for each active action steal. 12% per active action steal, because we always have 2 at 24%. This is going to be going into our Violent Momentum. So Boom Enhance, whenever Zane summons a Digiclone, you consume 3 grenades. For each grenade consumed, the Digiclone increases its gun damage, health, fire rate, reload speed, and Digiclone duration. For 1 point, this skill is ridiculous. And the main part of the build is Double Barrel. Whenever you summon your clone, whatever gun Zane has in his hand, his clone also gets a copy. Now we gotta keep in mind that clone cannot receive benefits from anointments, so he's just going to be going off of raw damage. You can't transfer anoints. Into the gear, we have the beacon, Sentinel Cryo Beacon. It comes in shock and corrosion. Every time you reload this gun, it triggers a Nova. The clone can benefit from this. I like to use the No Pew Pew because the No Pew Pew has action steal active for weapon damage by 200% on this one specifically. And it's also good for fleshy styled enemies. The OPQ, I like to throw this on Clone because Clone utilizes this very nicely, and I'll show you what I mean by how nice it actually is. If I'm holding this in my hand when I summon Clone, I also get Nova damage for 20,000 damage every couple seconds. And the back burner is for bossing. Action steal and for splat. And the back burner is for bossing. Action steal and you increase splash damage. You throw this onto your clone, things blow up in seconds, or you can utilize it after action steal. I have a transformer. Transformer is for movement speed while Sentinel is active. The shield isn't at level 60, but that's okay. With a lot of the shield regeneration skills, you don't really need it. And also clone pulls aggro. The It's Piss Grenade, I don't throw this myself. This is just for action steal and shock damage. And also with drone delivery. Now there's another skill in the red tree called Fractal Frags, where it's a kill skill. Digiclone can throw a copy of your grenade. It has a 45% chance to activate. I was using this previously. There is a problem with it, however, and the problem is that it procs too often, where your clone is just going to be focused on throwing grenades to debuff rather than doing damage. I recommend having your Sentinel do all the debuffing and let your clone do all the damage. And we have the Snowdrift Victory Rush. This is for movement speed. And we have the Seeing Dead column with the +5. It comes with splash damage. The splash damage is going to be nice for the OPQ, the backburner, and the beacon. Action skill cooldown rate, and also action skill damage. Let's show some basic mobbing here. So we summon our Sentinel. We summon our clone. I'm going to throw the OPQ on my clone. And as you can see, I can just run around. I can run around and do some Novas every couple seconds if I want to. And we'll throw clone in here. Swap. Everything's going to be aggroed on the clone now. I can use the beacon if I want. I do Novas. There's a corrosive Nova. That thing's gone. Now the one problem with having buddy system on this build is the clone cannot target the buddy system. Your drone, however, can. So you can definitely counter it. Speaking of both our clone and drone, our clone is rocking Doppelbanger. Whenever we blow up our clone, 50,000 damage Nova happens. And enemies are more likely to target the clone for a few seconds after swapping or summoning. And our Sentinel is our debuffer. Shoots out a beam that weakens and buffs enemies, or buffs Zane and weakens enemies, sorry. It also improves their movement speed and fire rate. And we also have a static field that does shock beams. It also replenishes our shield as well. And we'll throw clone in there. Clone's gonna start mobbing. This is all of our movement speed skills together. Now I don't have the damage going on this no pew pew right now because I swapped to it after activating an action skill. So I do not have the 200% damage coming through. However, it still swings. There's a couple million damage for you from clone with OPQ. It is super powerful how it works. Throw some backburner in there. Normally I like to use this just for bosses, but it also works for mobbing if something is annoying you. But this thing doesn't have a buddy system, so we gotta target that. See? Our drone can take out our buddy system that's going to be annoying us. And we'll throw in our clone over here. And we can just move right into the battle really, really quickly because of all our movement speed. This does not have the damage buff again. I'm just normally mobbing with it. Normal no pew pew with the ×3. Okay, I think we're gonna swap. Occasionally, swapping is very, very good if you're ever under pressure because it takes aggro off of you. It taunts just like Flax Pet, and it also does some regen as well. And while that's going on, while everything is taunted, our drone is flying around and also debuffing enemies and giving us shield at the same time. Quick mobs here. Can you stop fucking speed racing? Quick mobbing phase here. Zane is flying through with a supersonic man, violent speed, violent momentum, combination with damage and all that jazz. Clone is just shredding everything here. That was a couple million damage. Okay, let's go ahead and speed through to our Trunt over here. So this was an OPQ that was obtained during the Cartel Thieves event. So this is just a level 57 Level 57. It's not level 60. It's not scaled. It is Mayhem 10. But the potential for this thing could be a lot more than what it is. However, there is not a way to obtain a level 60 legitimate OPQ at the moment. The only way to obtain it was through the event, which is now expired. But it still shreds when you throw on all the gun damage on top of it. All of the buffs whenever you have 2 action skills going. It is nuts. Throughout the entire mobbing phase of Athenas, we have not lost 1 action skill yet. Although I think I'm about to lose Sentinel here. Unless we can get it back. Man, the double fire rate on the OPQ. It makes the OPQ far more ridiculous than it actually is. It's bringing in more shock splash, which is where a lot of the damage of this gun is coming from, making it very, very good. Okay, we don't need to mob anymore. We left our clone all high and dry here. So this is Captain Trant. So I don't have to do anything while clone's active. He just... I don't think I've ever seen that before. That was a one-shot on Trant with clone. I'm so happy that that was recorded. I don't think I've ever seen a clone one-shot Captain Trant previously. I've seen it die in 5 seconds. I've never seen a one-shot. That is a very, very special thing to record. You guys are in luck. But this is the damage that this clone is outputting. Okay, so just to put into perspective, we're going to put numbers shown. And we're going to see if we can get some numbers captured here. Throw up your ice wall all you want. And we'll bring in our clone. Let's see. There's a lot of stacked numbers here. There's a lot of 1 million numbers here. 1 million, 1 million, 1 million. 3 million there. Is that 22 million behind there? Yeah, 22 million back there. Another 997,000. These numbers are stacked everywhere, and this is just clone shooting for like 2 seconds. Whenever he's doing all this damage, he's also healing, as you can see. 671,000, 524,000. So the clone stays up forever. The clone does not die. The clone does not die. I thought that was a Chaosin for a second. That would be really, really cool to have a Chaosin appear on record. We'll do one more Trant for you guys, and we'll see if we can capture some decent numbers there. And then we'll go a little bit more in depth into the build, just to show exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so we do our Sentinel. We slide past his ice wall. Pop clone right beside him. And let's see. Oh, I forgot to put on numbers. Uh-oh. I thought I saw 17 million there, though. There we go. There's some nice numbers. There's a 17 million for you. A couple 1 million spread up there. There's a 2 million. I think there's a 22 million on his crit spot there. It's kind of distorted in the clutter. It looks like a 22 million to me. A couple of sporadic 175,000s. There's a 671. This is just the clone, by the way. The clone is going to be doing more damage than you. Ironically. Yeah, they really stacked this clone. 22 million, 22 million. I don't see a number besides the 22s. 2 million. Just to put it into perspective, that's 5 seconds of clone. 5 seconds of clone on one Trant, and that's the kind of damage it's doing. Now you could do the beacon. If you give your clone the beacon, I'll show you what happens. If you give your clone the beacon can benefit off of your clone, whereas a lot of things don't. If you have a grenade that says on weapon thrown you get action steal damage, that doesn't transfer over to the clone as well. There's a lot of things that do not interact with clone, but the beacon does. So we'll let him shoot, and whenever he reloads, you'll see the Nova. See? Shoots, Nova. Reloads, Nova. The Nova does trigger. So by that theory, if both of us are holding the beacon and we're both shooting and reloading, we're both causing Nova damage of whatever the element of the beacon is on. Now you can give your clone some Sandhawk. The Prosperity License is pretty nice. There's a Nukem in here as well if you guys want to take any of this stuff and use it. KO Sin, not the greatest, it's not a ×2. A few other things to play around with. Seeing Dead. Another Victory Rush if you want movement speed and mag size. It's also a good one. A couple redistributors if you want to play with redistributor Zane. A flipper. Flippers are very, very nice to be able to swing it in Corrosion Shock and also Sentinel Cryo. This thing hits hard. It's really, really good if you combine it with the fire rate of Violent Violence and the reload speed of Cool Hand to be able to reload really, really quickly. And also playing dirty for more projectiles on the flipper is also very, very good. I think that's going to call it there for the Zane, though. Did a little bit of mobbing, did a little bit of bossing, got to show some numbers off, and that is Zane. If you guys did not know, I stream this game 5 days a week from Tuesdays to Saturdays at a 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Start Time. We do crazy builds like this, we do challenges all the times, anything and everything Borderlands is what we end up doing. If you guys want this build for yourself, feel free to check out the description. You guys can get the save file, it's in my Discord. There's also a save file tutorial, as all my builds have. Feel free to check those out, download it, play around with it. But I think that's going to call it for me there. Guys, my name is B Flattened, and I'm signing on out of here. Take care, everybody.